Welcome once again to this video where we are talking about how childhood pain manifests in adult life. We have looked at how that pain manifested in teenage. We have looked at how that pain manifests in young adult life. Now we are looking at how that same pain, if it is not dealt with, will begin to manifest in an adult. Let's look at the first one who started as a rebellious teen and they came out as a rebellious young adult. Now they are adults. The first thing that you will realize in this kind of adults is that they abuse alcohol. They started alcohol abuse in their young adult life if they had not started in teenage. Some of them started way in teenage. But now, this is now somebody who is now working, employed, has a family, but they still have to carry on with their alcohol thing. And if this adult now is married, they become abusive to their spouses and their children. And most of that happens when they are drunk, because they'll come home drunk and they'll come and bring all the noise, all the fighting into the home, so they become abusive to their spouses and children. This is the kind of a person who will become a cheating spouse. They have multiple sex partners because they started it in their young adult life because they had too much sexual exploits. Now that they are adults and they have not dealt with their pain, that is likely to happen. Cheating spouse with multiple sex partners. They also can become violent. That when they get angry, they can result into violence and they can fight. They can abuse their spouses violently, where the physical fight comes into play. Wherever they go to take alcohol, you'll also find them fighting, getting involved in physical fighting. So they can become violent. Even in their places of work, they can begin to show signs of violence and lack of submission. They become insubordinative. They many times will not respect the authorities in their places of work. They show defiance to their bosses and the authorities. And if they become the bosses themselves, then they are very violent and they can become very abusive even as bosses. The performer right now who is an adult, the first thing you will discover with them is that they become workaholics. They just work. They hide themselves in performance. So working is one of those things that you will find them doing a lot. The other thing, you will find them having very high standards, and some of them excel in school, so you'll find them in very good positions in their workplaces. They have very high standards and they are perfectionists. They become perfectionists and they are kind of withdrawn. They are not so much into meeting people and doing group things. They love to work. They are workaholics, so you'll not find them going for parties and stuff like that. Now, if this person is married, again, you will find them not being very present at home. Remember when we were talking of abandonment in children, or you have busy parents. If you have parents who are performers, it's very likely they will be so busy working that they are not so much at home. So when you're at home as a child, waiting for them to be home, the thing that drives them is not spending time with people, including family. What drives them is work. When they are excelling and excelling, they are doing one course after the other. They do their first degree, their second degree, they're doing their PhD. They are excelling. So studying is one of the escapes that they have. They love to study, so they can be withdrawn from family. Now, if something happens again and they experience failure, like now, for example, their marriage is failing because they are not present, They are not emotionally connected with their spouses. They are absent in children's functions. If things start going bad, if for example they are married to a rebellious partner who gets angry and can become defiant, and they can even get into physical fight, and the marriage begins to fail, and this person has always known how to thrive by performing, and they are not able to fix their marriage, that is where depression begins to hit in. Or if they are not performing at work because maybe they got into some addictions. Remember we mentioned some addictions in their young adult life, like smoking weed or even drugs, and those other addictions to sexual fantasies and so on and so forth. If now something happens and they're not performing because of any of those things, and they also experience chronic conditions, chronic pain, they can develop ulcers very easily, they can develop high blood pressure alongside with now the depression because of the things that they're experiencing at work, at home, if they are married, financial strain. They don't know how to handle those things. So when those things hit and they get into depression, again, it's very easy for them to commit suicide. So it's important for anybody who is a performer to be very, very careful with the aspect of depression and even suicide, plus other illnesses that come flooding. Some of them are psychological or conditions. They come flooding in their lives, in their adult lives. The victims, a majority of them, they become fearful people in life. They are afraid of taking risks. They lack self-motivation. They do not try out things. They are not initiators in anything. They prefer to follow a path that everybody else is following. They want to be safe. They follow safely. In their married life, they can become doormats. It's very easy for them to be exploited, abused, and used by their spouses, and they allow it because all they want is acceptance, affirmation. They want to feel loved and needed and wanted. So they can allow for abuse and exploitation and being used. And some of them begin to feel entitled. For example, if it is a man who has been a victim and they have a wife probably who is a performer, it is very easy for them to begin to feel entitled, where they begin to demand attention too badly. They begin to demand that attention. They feel entitled. They begin to want to be taken care of. They want to be taken care of, and they can become like crybabies. They are attention seekers, throwing tantrums even as adults. But if it is a woman, it's very easy for the woman to become a doormat. They can be used and abused, turned around. They lack a backbone. They don't know how to stand strong for themselves, especially for the women. So because the world is very harsh and rough, they can find themselves being used as scapegoats. When somebody has done something wrong and it's blamed on them, they don't want to say no, it's not me, because they don't want to hurt that person. So as a result of that, they allow abuse. If it is in an office kind of a situation, they might find themselves doing so much work that is meant to be done by others, but simply because those others have refused to do it, they find themselves taking it up and doing. So they can be overworked. They are overworked. Some of them are paid very little, but they don't know how to speak for themselves. Some of them will remain in one position and they are due for promotion. They will never speak. They just stay. They just accept it. So they become doormats. So if you have been wounded as a child, and you can begin to see some of these things that I'm talking about, the only way out is to get healed. And you can be healed so that you recover who you are. God did not create you with these kind of weaknesses that I am mentioning here. There is a reason why God created you. There is a purpose for which God created you. And you were created perfect for your purpose. But you will not be able to fulfill your purpose when these weaknesses that came in as a result of pain are still in your life. Again, I will say, and I've said it several times in the videos, that the beliefs we form when we are going through pain are the beliefs that we use to live our lives on a day-to-day basis. So those beliefs are faulty. They were formed during a time of pain, and they will dictate our lives in that manner. So we will think this is who we are, but it is simply because we went through this particular pain at that particular time and we formed this particular belief and we are living our lives based on it. So it is important for you to seek healing. Now, healing can only come from God. Healing can only be given to you by God. He will take your pain, He will give you the healing. So once you get the healing, you are restored back to your original state. God is able to do that because He's the one who created you in the first place. So He knows exactly why He created you. He knows exactly how He did it before pain destroyed you. So in my next video, I'll be bringing out steps that you can take towards your healing, because this is something you can do all by yourself. You need to get your healing so that you get back to the person that you were created to be. So you can no longer live with pain. You need to be healed. So follow me in my next video and get to see how you get your healing.